yeah, I thought I'd do a little update on my battery box. Well, as you know, as you probably noticed, I haven't done anything much with it the last few weeks. I've been, well, to be honest with you, I've just haven't felt like doing it. And anyway, I've got some old plugs. I've got a gold three-way one. Now this one goes in the, this is second battery box. This goes in the back and it parallels up the first battery box once it's wired up with the second. Well, I've got to wire that up, and I'm going to put another socket like this one in the first battery box. And the way it works is the voltage from the first battery box comes in and goes in on one pin. It charges up this second battery box. Then the power comes back out through the circuit through the second pin and is fed back to the first battery box, and the middle pin is going to be ground. It's going to be earth neutral. But anyway, so that's a little bit about that. So I've got two of these, one's silver, one's gold. Actually this one's a lot heavier, so much better quality actually, I think, steel or something. But the gold one feels a bit cheap and nasty actually. Probably very thin plate. But now I'll turn it around. Right, oh, let me just show you, turn it this way. Now there's some screws at the back sticking out. Now that's my circuit board that's mounted inside. I'll show you that in a minute. And that's another charge socket like the first battery box, so I can charge it independently if I want. And these are the output sockets, and this one's going to be 11 volts output, and there's my front meter, which isn't on yet because I'm still wiring it up. And I'll put some labels on there. Right, now I'll take the lid off. As you can see, I haven't painted all the way up. I painted the box, I haven't painted all the way up, so there's still a bit of blue, but that's not really important. You can't see that when the lid's on. But right now, I'll just take some junk out of here because I've got all sorts of bits in. Right, move my microphone a bit. Right, take this foam out. Now there's my circuit board. This is, oh, let me turn this around because it's a bit awkward to see right now. It's all upside down. Right, let me just move this, and it's very heavy. I have to move it, shuffle it a bit because it's just very heavy. Right, there's my circuit board at the back. Oh, you can't see properly. Let me get this light on it. And that's my over voltage cutout. It cuts out if it's overcharging, and it also cuts out if the voltage gets too low. There's two MOSFETs mounted on the heatsink at the back. There's a little bit of gunk on there. That's simply just to stop the legs from accidentally getting broken off because they're a bit fragile. I mounted the two MOSFETs directly onto a large metal heatsink. It's quite a heavy, chunky piece of metal actually. It's a bit like a bit of Lego. It's that brown stuff there, that long metal bracket thing. So, and there's my circuit board, which is mounted, and the wires go from the circuit board to the MOSFETs. And right, so, and I've already set the board up, so I've actually put some nail varnish on the preset so they don't get moved around. That's the nail varnish colour there. And anyway, there's two MOSFETs, one's for charging and one's for the output voltage. And there's my batteries. I've just got I've just been wiring up the neutral wires, and I'm in another circuit board. This is a voltage ladder, I called it. This is where I want to get right way up because I call it a volt ladder. It's regulated and stepped down. What happens is the voltage comes in from the first battery, because the first battery is over there, on there. Oh, can't get my camera pointing. It's right up there with that little blinking light above it. Right, can't see it properly, but it's right in the middle there. Right, anyway, the voltage ladder, the voltage comes in and it's got a regulator which is hidden underneath this insulation and this heatsink, because this is flexible copper which helps to dissipate the heat. The regulator is mounted on this screw. You get 15 volts coming in, so my label's stuck down a bit, but there's a 15 volt thing. So the top one's 15 volts, the next one is 14.3 volts, and the next one down is 13.6 volts, 12.9 volts, 12.2 volts and 11.5 volts. The reason behind that is that some of these batteries actually need a bit higher voltage to charge them, because as I say, I'm recycling old laptop batteries and some of them are a bit weakened, so they actually resistance goes a bit higher, so you have to tend to use a bit of a higher voltage to charge them. But the other good cells are closer to the 11.5 volt, they're going to get that amount of voltage to charge. So I'm going to be just wiring up the cells, because there's a bunch of diodes under here, you can't see really, but this is the ladder. There's one diode in series with another diode, in series with another diode, in series with another diode, and this is what gives me my voltage drop, because each diode has a 0.7 volt voltage drop across it, so you get a voltage ladder, and each connection here, each one of these comes off a different tapping point. So and so as the batteries are all charged, all of the batteries are fed back to another bunch of diodes, and all the diodes up here all parallel the voltages back up again into one single output, and that is the output that I take the power from out the battery when I'm running things. So we've got the diodes coming in as the voltage ladder, and then to take the output we take it from all the parallel diodes, which shunts all of the cells out into one. Right, so you get that. This is why I call it a voltage ladder. Anyway, there's all my cells, and I've checked them all, they're all fine. And there's my output socket. I haven't wired them up yet. That's the next job really, is to wire that up. And that's got to go through my circuit board first. The ground is going to be going through the MOSFET, so the circuit board cuts the ground off, the neutral off when the batteries are too flat, to prevent them from being damaged, because if they get too discharged they can get damaged. Right, and there's a bit of junk in here, I just put that in there just to hold the batteries in place, because these aren't fixed yet, and when I'm moving it around I don't want the batteries rattling about inside the box, so I just wedged that in there temporarily, because I need to take these out while I'm wiring this up, the sockets. When I've wired it all up, then I can fix the batteries in properly so they're not going to float about. But I just don't want to be fixing them in yet until I finish wiring it all up. Anyway, so, and there's the back of the voltmeter. That's got to be wired up too. There's a lot of junk down in here, so that's just for now, because nothing gets shorted down there. But anyway, I just thought I'd show you what I'm doing, and we're getting there. So, and put the lid back on. Lots of bits of foam around. And I've just polished it actually. I painted it a few days ago. I was waiting for it to dry, and now I've polished it so that it's nice and shiny. And the wax polish will keep the paint from flaking off, hopefully, because usually this sort of paint lasts years, like, but eventually it can start to flake, so the wax will help to keep it, give it a longer lifespan. But anyway, so there we are, that's where we are up to now. Ooh.